June 9th. I'm Steve Knotts, and I want to show you the first hands-on Ableton course about gain staging. This is something I made to help you get your tracks hitting heavy and deep in the low end. I know everybody's always asking, how do I make my kick drum louder? How loud do I put my sub bass? What about sidechain compression? What about multi-band compression? What about dynamic EQ? Well, guess what? All those problems go away if you do good gain staging from the beginning, which essentially means all you have to do is worry about volume. But what I want to do here is I wanted to make a video that's going through to YouTube and my public Facebook page, so it will be shareable, so you can share it to your friends and other Ableton groups in case they want to know what this is all about. Gain staging is a simple technique. It comes from the world of audio engineering, and it's related to amplifiers. So every time a sound goes through a stage of amplification, it's adding gain, and that gain is changing the sound relative to all the other sounds, and eventually it comes out a pair of speakers and people have to listen to it. So there's a lot going on in the signal path. As the signal flows through the signal path, there are a lot of places you can change the gain, and every time you do that, you have a chance to do it right, or you have a chance to totally wreck it. So in this course, we talk about how to set up your sounds in your mix so that at the master channel, a couple things happen. Number one, it sounds good. Number two, you have a wide stereo field. Number three, you have a deep low end where the kick drum and the sub bass are hitting hard. And number four, you still have headroom, like 6 dB for mastering later. So that's what we learned. It's not that hard, but there are a simple few steps you have to go through. So I want to show you the course on the inside because I made something where you learn by doing it. All right. Everybody's making tutorials. YouTube's great. Everybody knows about video. I'm doing something different. I made lessons built inside of Ableton. So you open up an Ableton project, you download a project, you open it up. There are audio instructions that tell you what's going on, just like me talking right now, but I recorded it inside live. So you don't have to be on YouTube. You can close the internet, no distractions. Then I use automation to show you examples of what's going to happen, which means you play some sounds, you see the automation move, you hear what happens, and you learn why it's making that sound better. And then here's the fun part. You get to play with it. You get hands-on activities to tweak the knobs, change the sounds, make some edits, and hear the improvement before and after. So you actually learn how to mix inside Ableton by doing it with an interactive guided project. I call them session lessons because you do them in session view. I'm going to show you one right now. Let me just make sure I'm not monitoring comments right now. I like to do that, but sometimes I just need to blast a video and tell you a bunch of stuff. So drop a comment if you have a question on YouTube or Facebook, and I will get back to you. But right now we're going to go into live, and I'm going to show you what a hands-on session lesson tutorial looks like, because these are completely revolutionary. I invented it, and it's the best way to learn. So this is what happens when you open up the Ableton project. This is what you see. There is directions in the master channel. There is a little track that says instructions. And then all the other tracks are normal channels you would work with. We've got kick drum, sub bass, a whole bunch of beats in blue, toms, hand claps, crash, riser, that kind of stuff. Then the yellow channels are your instruments. We got a bass line, synth pads, and a lead. So what happens when you open up the session lesson and press play? Check this out. Welcome to lesson 2 in the gain staging course. This is where we take the channels that we worked on last time with all the levels we did, and now we're going to use them to make a mix. All right, notice that is not Steve on video talking. That is Steve recorded inside the session lesson. Welcome to lesson, giving you instructions of what to do. And I take you through activities and everything. I tell you what's going on. This is lesson 2, so we already went through the basics of input gain staging. Now this is a hands-on guided project to make a mix. Check this out. Time for the fun part. Let's mix some music. First, let's listen to what we did last time. Play the next scene and just listen to where we ended up after gain staging at the individual channels, and notice that the channel output faders, the volumes are all set to -9 dB. I did this so that we could hear the music without clipping at the master channel. Okay, so there's the instructions telling you what's going on. Your job is to play the next example and read the master channel level. Click the peak level reset meter on the master channel and keep an eye on it. It is going to blink a little bit into the red, but basically it'll be usable. All right, so I'm telling you exactly how to measure the sound, where to look, and how to interpret what you see when you play the sounds. Okay, so that's what the track is. That sounds like, it's 120 something BPM, kind of like a housey track. Notice all these little red dots popped up on the volume faders. They're all set to the same level. This is automation showing you what to do. And just so you know, inside every channel, there is also automation working with the sounds, with these effects racks, to dial them in and get the most out of each sound. In other words, you want to get each sound up to the optimal level, maximize the signal to noise ratio, use all the available headroom within that channel. And then the track output fader allows you to make the mix. We go through activities on every sound. We talk about the kick drum. What did we do? Why did we set it at that level? Your turn, do the activity. It sounds like this. Your turn, set the kick drum to -12 dB, and that means read the master channel and set it so that we have -12 dB of headroom on the master. Okay, so I'm talking about where to look, what to do, why this matters. Why does this matter? Well, let me give you an example. All right, so I'm talking in there, I'm telling you what to do, why it matters. I got some pro tips. We talk about how to get a loud mix. Hint, you don't get it from jacking up your faders, you get it from the amps in the room. And we go through every channel in the mix. The sub bass. How do you set your sub bass level to sound good with the kick drum? You're going to find out. The drum mix, making a good stereo mix of all the drums. Notice those are all color-coded blue, so you know which ones they are. We add in the bass line, the synths, the lead. We even get to some reverbs and delay effects, which are all inside of macro mapped effects units that are fun for you to play with. And we talk about reverb and delay, how much is too much, what do you do, gain staging in effects. Beware of mix creep. In other words, don't hurt your ears. Let me play a little before and after. I want to show you what this mix sounds like by the end. Your turn. The next two scenes have before and after mixes. So play through the next two scenes, compare them back and forth, and make some notes in your mind of how they sound. Here we go. Here's before the mix. That means the gain staging is done at the individual channels. We set the input level of every sound, but the output faders are going to jump up and down. Let's hear how it sounds. Notice everything is at -9. All the volumes are at an equivalent level. Master channel is clipping red. Sounds kind of loud. I don't know. Let's go to the after mix. Interestingly enough, the master channel is lower, but I feel more bass. Look at the channel faders. They're all down. -22, -29. Where's our low end? Up at -9. Check that out. Let's go back to before. Yeah, the beats are brighter, but it sounds more tinny, more high frequency. Let's go back to the mix after. Suddenly I can hear the bass line, I can feel the sub, I can feel the kick drum. That's the difference it makes. And I don't just tell you to do it. I don't tell you numbers to type in. I don't tell you to follow what I'm doing and it's going to sound good. No, I tell you how to read the meters. I tell you the thought process behind what we're doing. For example, the before mix is what we started with at the top of this project, where the gain staging is done at the individual channel level, but the output faders are all at the same level, and the master channel mix does not really sound that good. Okay. Okay, what did we hear? Well, my first impression was definitely that the before mix had a... I noticed also that in my monitors, I did have to turn up the after mix louder. One thing I really liked about the... Okay, so I talk about what we're hearing, what are the problems that I identified, and how did I solve those problems in the mix to make it sound better, which means you learn the thought process behind what you're doing. It's not just presets, it's not just a bunch of numbers, it's not a template. Well, you get a template, but I actually teach you how to interpret what you're hearing so you can solve the problems in your own mix, in your own tracks, to get some bass heavy mixes that really drop some beats when you play them live. Notice also, this is kind of cool, in Live 11, you can do follow actions in the master channel. The before mix is what... So as I play these triangles... Okay, what did we hear? The next one below it starts blinking. The master scene launch triangles lead one to the next. So it takes you through, and you can get all the way to the end section with review, gain staging in each channel, make a mix, top-down versus bottom-up mixing, pros and cons, general guidelines. Remember FDMU, faders down, monitors up. That means how you get a loud mix. And then what comes next. So this is a guided session lesson that takes you through instructions, activities, and examples with automation showing you what to do. And you get 4 of these. Let me go back to Cameraland for a minute. Cameraland. So I created these session lesson tutorials to give you the experience of mixing with guidance so you can hear the before and after difference and learn how to do it by doing it. You know, people can watch videos and you think you learn it. You're like, oh yeah, I recognize that. It's familiar. I've seen it before. You don't really learn it. Like, think about cooking. If you watch a cooking video about how to make an omelet, and then you go into the kitchen and you turn on the frying pan, you start making an omelet. Do you really know how to do it? Well, maybe, but what are you going to do? Watch the video and then pause it when the omelet starts to burn and try to figure out what to do? Mixing is the same thing. You can watch videos and get some good ideas, but when you learn by doing it, it becomes part of your process for actually working in the studio when you're making your own tracks. You're going to learn techniques with compression, EQ, limiter, utility gain, volume faders, pan knobs, stereo mixes, all the things that we have as the basic resources for making a mix are part of your gain staging strategy. So this is not just the input gain or the recording preamp volume. This is everything that the sound goes through, from the channel to the group to the effects return to the master channel, to end up with a great mix that drops some heavy low end that sounds pro, like a beatport track or like a DJ set that you listen to or like the music we love. That's my goal. My goal here is not just to make you watch a video or make you do a lesson. My goal is to hear your music when you're done and get an email that says, hey, Steve, I made this track after doing your course. Check out the low end. How does it sound? I want to press play and hear some boom coming out the speakers. That's why I do this. I love hearing music from people and making it sound good. So trying not to press play on my push at my elbows here. So the gain staging course is open now. It's available now. I want to show you the member site where you get it so you know what to do to get the course. We're about 10 minutes in. That's good. Back to screen share land. Okay, here is the Mixatexture member site. It says courses.mixatexture.com. If you've never been there before, there's a little welcome video, but let's look at the available courses and scroll down to gain staging strategy for bass mixes. I'm so happy about this. I don't know of anybody who's teaching gain staging really in an effective way for Ableton with real audio engineering techniques inside. I'm not just a DJ and producer, I'm also an audio engineer. I've mixed hundreds of live bands on big sound systems, outdoor festival sound systems, the kind of sound systems where people can get electrocuted and die or burn up or something if they go wrong. Like, you don't want to see hot amps melt. That's not a good scene. But anyway, the stuff I'm teaching you really works in a DJ set, in a recording studio with microphones, or if you're doing live PA on a 20,000 watt sound system, this stuff will help you sound good without blowing up your subwoofers and stopping the show for everybody. So anyway, here's the course, Gain Staging Strategy for Bass Mixes. There is a teaser module that you can flip through to see what's inside. And just so you know, when you sign up and join, there are 4 hands-on session lessons, okay? 4 different Ableton Live packs that you download. The first one is about gain staging with individual tracks. How do we EQ the kick drum? How do we EQ the drums? How do we raise the gain of those sounds to make them fit in the mix? The next session, listen, mixing with tracks. That's the one I just showed you. We talk about the volume faders, how to put them in position to get your master channel sounding good with the low end coming out clear. Session lesson number 3, groups and effects. We take our drums and put them in a stereo pair. We talk about the rules for a submix. Believe it or not, the more groups you use, the easier it gets to mix, and you'll find out why. Then the last one, mixing with buses and effects. A bus group is basically an input track where you combine multiple groups, like multiple track groups, into one place with your return effects to make your whole session even easier. So if you're working with like 70 tracks or a project where you got a track count of like 90 channels in there, you're gonna have to use some buzz groups to get everything down to a manageable size where you got it all in one place. Like people who work with vocals, you might have 20 overdubs. Well, you don't want to have 20 individual channels that you're trying to move up and down. No, you put them in a stereo pair, and then you have one fader to control all those sounds. That's what bus groups are all about. The last module is bonus guides and videos. I'll show you some of those. But for now, let's look at the teaser. You can go in here for free right now. You can go through some videos about terms and gain staging tools. Those are prerequisites. When I say headroom, signal to noise ratio, distortion, you got to know what those things mean. So you can get them for free right now in the terms and tools. If you're confused about session lesson tutorials, maybe you never heard of one before, check it out. You can download a teaser. This lesson opens up, and you can do about 15 minutes of the first lesson to understand how this course helps, okay? You get to open the project, hear the instructions, see some examples, and do some activities with kick drum mixing. And it's free. You go right down here, download Live 9.7. It'll open in Live. It'll open in 9.7 or 10 or 11. And it'll give you a look at how the session lesson format works. This is totally revolutionary. It's a new way to teach. I invented it, and not a lot of people know about it, so I understand you might want to check one out. And then when you're ready to sign up, well, you can look through what you're going to learn. I show you previews of each session lesson from individual channels, track groups, all that kind of stuff. And then there's some other stuff, what people are saying, the guarantee, what you get inside, including mix templates and channel strip presets. There's a whole list. Also, these PDF study guides. How to do gain staging, 8 great mix tools, 10-step mix down process, stereo export checklist, all this stuff that I talk about in the course. I put it in one place so you can easily review it and learn it and use it. And then the bonus items. I want to tell you right now, if you had studio time with me to learn this course, it would be like $1,000. I mean, it would take hours of going through it one-on-one, and nobody's going to come in and book time for that. I understand that. As a private tutor, it's hard to get people to come across the distance or to set up the Zoom appointment, and you got to schedule and everything. You don't have to mess with all that. Right now, you can download the lessons, do them at your own pace, repeat them as much as you want, and you still get hands-on practical instructions inside Live. That's what makes it so revolutionary. And then I exported the channel strips, the effects racks, the macro mapped control knobs. All this stuff is available as bonus items for you to download and play with. I took the session lessons, removed the audio, and made them mix templates where you can drop in your own stems and make a mix easily. And then you've got the PDF guides, a couple of videos, a whole bunch of stuff to make it easier for you to get great sounding mixes in a short time. I think this course would take about 6 hours. If you sat down and did it from right now until the weekend, the session lessons are maybe 45 minutes, but then you want to play around with the sound, so it's about an hour. And then going through the lessons, the review, and using them in your own projects, it's about a 6-hour time commitment, which is not bad at all. And if you were going to book this as studio time, I mean, it would cost, like each one of these lessons, I would factor them at about $100 each, so that would be $400, plus the bonus stuff for 25 bucks a pop. That's like up to $600. This would be a chunk of money if you were going to buy it all as individual projects. We're not doing that today. What we're going to do, you click the Buy Now button, and check this out. The list price is $297. That's still a deal right now. I have some students who are gone through, they're up to lesson 2, and they told me, Steve, lesson 1 and 2 by themselves are worth the whole price of the course. And there's still 2, they're not even halfway through. So by the time you go through all 4 hands-on session lessons, you're going to learn so much that it's going to be worth 10 times the price. And since this is an opening offer, you don't have to pay $297. You can type in the coupon code early bird like that and drop the price down 50%. I'm doing this for Mixitecture members who are part of this channel or whatever, because I want you to take the course, make some mixes, send me the tracks, and tell me how much better they sound since learning this stuff in this course. It's a new course. You might find a spelling mistake in the text or a tech glitch somewhere with the automation. Possibly. It's brand new. I know it's hard to do a ton of this stuff without making little mistakes. I'm not afraid of telling you that. So, you know, I'm making it a 50% deal to get people in here now to go through the course, learn how to make heavy, low-end mixes that drop serious bass, and give me some feedback on it and tell me, what did you learn? How did you like it? How did you like the hands-on session lessons? How did you like the instructions by automation, where you learn by following along with automation? It's so fun. People are having a good time with this, and I want to hear how it makes your mixes better. So type in the coupon code EARLYBIRD, drop the price down, half price, so $148. That's an amazing deal for everything you're getting. Or if you want to pay it off in 3 pieces, choose a 3-month plan. You can pay with your credit card or PayPal and just pay $62 right now. And then for the next 2 months, same thing again. You can go through these hands-on lessons, which are a completely revolutionary way to learn production and live. And you're going to get heavy, low-end bass mixes that are perfect for electronic music. I mean, the stuff you learn is all about kick drum, sub bass, stereo beats, and synths. We don't teach vocals in this course, but once you learn what you're doing, you'll be able to mix vocals a million times better than before. If you have a question or comment, type it in either on YouTube or on the Facebook page. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'm Steve Knotts. If we haven't met, hi, how you doing? I'm the head of Mixitecture, and I invented hands-on session lessons as a format to teach people at long distance. I started out as a private tutor. I would sit down next to people, but you know what I did? When I had a lesson, I didn't sit like this. I made my students sit at the computer, and I sat next to them, and I said, all right, you're on the mouse. I'll tell you what to do, but I'm not going to do it for you, because they would get bored, you know? I wanted to make sure if I was teaching a DJ how to use Ableton Live in a DJ set, I want to make sure on Friday night, excuse me, when they get to the club, they're going to remember how to do it. You know, you can't send somebody out to a gig and they don't know it's the first time they ever did it. So I always made my students run the mouse and run Ableton and do the lesson themselves. And I stood there and told them what to do so they could have all the fun. That's what I was going for with the session lesson format. I want to make sure that when you're learning it, you learn by doing it so you remember how next time, okay? It's all about learning a couple simple principles, a few simple techniques, measure and adjust, turn your sounds up, and get better sounding mixes. It's not that hard, but you need somebody to show you the steps of the process. And you go through it 16 times for all the 16 tracks in this project. And by the end, you know how to do it. It becomes part of your subconscious, you know, production hardware. Like think about when you're driving and you put your turn signal on. You don't think I am turning on my turn signal. You look out the front and say, I'm going over there. You turn on your signal by a subconscious habit so everybody else knows what you're doing. And it's just part of your workflow. Gain staging is like that. It's just something you learn to read the meters, measure, turn it up or down, move on to the next sound, like that. It's easy, it's fun, it makes your music sound better. I'm excited for you to see this course. So, hey, Lori Johnson, bass, the final frontier. Good to hear from you, Lori, down there in Secret Land. So again, if you have any questions, type them in. I'll get back to you by chat, or you can email me, steve@mixitecture.com. This 50% deal is only until Friday this week, June 11th. The opening period is this week. I'm launching the new course. I want feedback on it, so I'm giving everybody a 50% discount to get you in here, going through the lessons so you can give me feedback on what works, what took too long, where is there a spelling mistake, help me fix those little errors to make it better than ever. And you're going to get great sounding low-end mixes with a technique that will stay with you for life. This is not just like, oh, I got a new plugin. This is like hardcore audio engineering that's going to make you a better producer forever. It's worth 10 times the price. I went to 4 years of audio engineering school to learn this stuff and apply it in real life. I've done it on big sound systems with my own live electronic shows, as a DJ, mixing in MCs and soloists on mics. And then as a sound man, I've mixed literally hundreds of bands for years on shows from outdoor festival sound systems into small clubs or art galleries or cafes or open mics or just, rock clubs. And I've done this stuff. This is what works. I get right to the point and teach you what you need to know without a lot of extra fluff. And you never have to watch anybody on YouTube doing it, because you get to do it inside live by yourself in your studio with your monitors, your computer, your mouse, your push, and you go through and you learn by doing it. I can't say any more about it. I'm going to go on forever. I love this stuff. Let me know if you have any questions, and that's it for now. Thanks for watching, Lori. See y'all next time. Oh, and share this video. I made it on my Facebook group and YouTube, so it's shareable. If you know somebody who might be interested, give them a little push and say, hey, check it out, Gain Staging. This is the first Gain Staging course with hands-on lessons for Ableton heads. You heard me say it 5 times. Love you.